How are we doing, guys? There was going to be an introduction, but it's decided to disappear off my screen, our intro thing. So anyway, guys, we are live with something a little bit different. It was Chris's idea. If this goes wrong, it was Chris's idea. We'll start with that. It is a Q&A. Basically, guys, I want you to send in your questions for us to debate about not All Leeds TV. It can be all about All Leeds TV if you want it to be. Who's the most annoying on All Leeds TV? I can answer that straight away. It's Phil.
Yeah.
We all agree on that. Just guys, about Leeds, All Leeds TV, anything Raphinha. Yeah, we can just talk about Raphinha for an hour. That's perfectly fine by me. Absolutely not a problem. Yeah, so get your questions in, guys. But first of all, into the video, we're going to talk about a new game. Ultimate Fan, as you can see by my hat, it is Ultimate Fan. It is a combination of fantasy football and Ultimate Team on FIFA, basically. So you can't just pick the best players. Think of it like fantasy football. You get 5 players to choose from, but you can't just pick the best players. You get packs to choose the players from. So you might look at Raphinha one week. You might be unlucky. You might get Bruno Fernandes next week. You don't know what you're going to get. You have to wait and see. And that's the fun of the game at the end of the day. We've all got teams set up, obviously, so you can compete with us. We will start doing a bit more of an update on how our team's doing. And yeah, you can check it out, guys. It is basically a combination of fantasy football and Ultimate Team. It's recommended from All Leagues to be. There's plenty of prizes on offer, and it is totally free to start the game. So check it out, guys. Check it out. The link is in the description down below. And let's get some questions in. Let's get some questions in first and foremost. So, have we got any questions in?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a random one. Who's the lead fan?
Jack.
Me?
Yeah, we'll just give that to Jack. It is Jack. It is quite clearly Jack. Yeah, it is
I think
Jack.
that Man United, the scum video, will give that away.
It's Jack. It's Jack. Let's get some more questions in. Thoughts on the Newcastle? Okay. It's a debatable point. I mean, Scott, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, is it bad for football, or are you not really bothered about it?
I'm kind of like, I'm glad to see something like that happen for Newcastle. It's one of those teams that I've always said, they should be a staple team in the Premier League. That's how I remember them. I think a lot of the Newcastle fans are maybe getting a bit carried away, and even the media, because the owner is worth, 320 billion? But that's not what the investment into the club is. And a lot of those fans think that they're just going to go and sign Mbappe and Haaland at the click of their fingers, and they're not, because there's still, yes, you've got that investment, but there's still not, it's like if Scum had been bought over by them, yeah, you would have expected Mbappe and Haaland and things like that to happen. But I think there's still that, is it stigma? Is that the right word I'm looking for? I think it is. They're just not.
It is, yeah.
That club, you don't think of Newcastle and go 300 million. Yeah, brilliant. That's going to be a big club. I think their main thing is that if they're going to be sustainable and get up there, they're going to need someone with a bit of vision. And I'm sorry, but the first player they're linked to is Anthony Martial. With that kind of investment, that's not vision.
It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. I mean, Chris, obviously, I think the point is, as well, is that Scott's kind of alluded to it. I mean, it's been compared to kind of like the Chelsea takeover. I think it's a lot more difficult now to do it. You've got financial fair play. You've got a lot of very, very good teams in this league now. You've got at least 4 or 5 almost super teams. I mean, I can see this actually potentially even failing. Not to sound bitter, I see there's potential there for this to be a bit of a waste of money potentially for the Newcastle new owners if they don't have the right strategy in place. Can you see it potentially falling flat on its face? Because Newcastle, I don't know about you, it might seem a bit harsh to say, I just can't associate Newcastle with when they had a good team with Shearer, Les Ferdinand, Ginola and that lot. They didn't win anything then, so there's something about Newcastle where there's almost a bit of a curse on Newcastle. What do you think to that, mate?
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to say about the Newcastle takeover is what I think about it as a Leeds fan comes later. But I'm actually, as a Leeds fan, and the absolute dross we've had as ownership over the last few years before Andrea come in, I'm actually really pleased for the Geordies that at least there's a bit of hope now. Do you know what I mean? They can look to a bit of a brighter future than just them clinging on to Premier League status every season and Mike Ashley reaping the benefits. So, and I know it's not as bad as some people make out. He has spent some money, but let's be honest, he's tight-fisted, isn't he? He's a businessman. So I'm pleased for the Geordies. Good luck to him. But I think with anything like this, there's always the potential for it to fail. There always is. And it does come down to strategy and how they go about the business and how do they attract players. The first thing they've got to do is stay up this season. Because if they go down, then all right, yeah, you've got owners worth 320 billion, but then you're stuck in the Championship with that financial fair play and you just can't go bananas then. So the first thing, and I've seen a lot of Geordie fans have got their heads screwed on. There's always some that get carried away. It's the same with any club. But a lot of Geordie fans, I've got a couple of mates who are Geordies saying, first thing we've got to do is get through this season. And then they might have to do a bit of a Man City, like, they brought in a marquee signing with Raphinha that never really worked out. But at the end of the day, they attracted who was a big player in and then more followed eventually. So, but I think even if they get the strategy right, you're looking at 3, 4, 5 seasons before they're really potentially challenging. There's a long way to go. I think the whole infrastructure of the club needs improving. I think the training grounds need improving from what I've heard. But good luck to him. I mean, as a Leeds fan, then it's not great for us because it's another club with absolute wealth, isn't it? But I can't begrudge the Geordies an opportunity to have a bit of hope, and hopefully they're decent owners and they take the club in the right direction, because it's a proper football club for me as Newcastle. Hopefully it doesn't go plastic like the others have with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, just a quick point in a minute ago, I don't think there's any business from Leeds fans. I just think it's a genuine possibility with Newcastle that it could go wrong because there's so much competition. You're not just going to be able to sign Mbappe this January. You're not just going to be able to sign Neymar next summer. It's going to take a long time for him to be able to get to that level. They might be able to sign one player, and I don't know, an Aubameyang or some form. I've seen him mentioned. They might be able to make that kind of signing, but they're not going to be able to sign the top superstars for me just yet, Newcastle. I think that's definitely...
At the end of the day, money's one thing, but the top players want Champions League and European football. So it's a process and it's a strategy that they've got to get right. And if they do it right with that kind of financial backing behind them, then, like I say, in 4 or 5 seasons, they've every chance of being up there with the Cities and Liverpools. The fan base is there. There's no need to worry about that. They've got to get the strategy right. And if they do, good luck to them. The Geordies deserve a bit of something nice to look forward to. They've had absolute shit. I think it was for 14 years or something.
Yeah.
So good luck to them.
Yeah, they fell pretty much shortly after we did. So they didn't have just as long of a hell as we did, but at least we had that hope, as you said, Chris. We had that hope whenever Raphinha took over.
Yeah,
they didn't, and at one point it looked like Mike Ashley just didn't even give a shit. Pardon my French, but it just at one point it did. It just looked like he didn't care what happened.
Yeah.
I think the first thing they need to do for Newcastle to survive this season, it isn't signing players. They've got good players there. They need to get rid of Bruce and they need to bring in a good quality coach.
100%.
No, totally. I mean, there's a couple of comparisons to Everton, where Everton have spent kind of 250 million in recent windows. And to be honest, up until getting Rafa, it's not really well. So it's definitely a case. But
spending money doesn't make a team.
No, it doesn't make a team.
You've got to have the right management in place who can manage the players. And you can have all the superstars in the world, but if they don't want to play for the club and they don't want to play for the manager, then you might as well flush your money down the bog or give it to me. Give it to me, don't flush it down the bog.
Well, let's get some more questions in, guys. Any more questions? I might just go and try and sort my mic out, actually, while if you've got another question. So get some questions in. Questions. Okay, that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Yes, I did. And I try and forget about it every single day, Giancarlo. So I wouldn't say I have nightmares daily about that game, but certainly weekly. Weekly, I can still see Ian Henderson smashing one in from 30 yards, and we lose 2-0. And yeah, that was the joys of Scott Mutton and another footballer during that time.
Scott Mutton, what a baller!
It's something that's always Scott Mutton. First person I think of during that time. I don't know why it is. I feel sorry for Scott Mutton, but it is always Scott Mutton I think back to. Anyone else go to that game?
No, thankfully.
Lucky you, lucky you. That was a miserable Saturday afternoon in January. That was. Let's see. Any other comments coming in? Let's have some more questions. Favorite away day. Favorite away day. It's quite a tough one. That. There's not that many away days I've done in this league though. I'd have to go in general for me. In general. Fulham's got to be up there. Fulham's definitely got to be up there. I think of other ones really. I always like going up to Preston.
I think mine's Forest, but that's because that tends to be some reason where I end up most pissed. It's nothing to do with the football or the ground or anything. The Wetherspoons is really good there and tend to have good offers.
I've got a feeling you end up in the Hooters there, to be honest with you.
Maybe back in the day, mate. Maybe back in the day.
Ooh, I think you're giving the game away there to the missus if you're not careful.
To be fair, mate. To be fair, they do good chicken wings. Just saying.
That is true.
Scott, favourite away day?
My only Leeds away day, obviously, because every game I go to is an away day for me, but the only actual away game I've been to was a friendly. It was a testimonial game for David Healy, and they were playing Glenavon, and a very, very young Kalvin Phillips was playing. So that's my only experience of an away day. Nothing compared to the shaking of the rafters that you see on the fan cams that I have lived through vicariously for the past few years.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other away days. I mean, championship-wise, all kind of like the same place, kind of thing. It was like it kind of felt like
Derby was all right in the championship.
Yeah.
Actually, it was always good on the concourse at Derby. It was always mental on the concourse. I just remember a seat flying over my head at the end of the game on a Derby away day.
Yeah, I don't know. I could give you quite a few bad ones, like really, really bad away days.
Huddersfield's an awful away day.
Yeah, that's got to be up there. That's got to be up there quite a lot.
I don't walk your dog in Huddersfield.
Right, we'll end that there. What Scott's referring to there? I've not a clue what Scott's referring to. I'm referring to there, Scott. No, don't say it. Don't say it.
I just said don't walk your dog.
I remember going to Tottenham in the cup. That's not fun. That certainly wasn't fun.
A rowdy bunch of Tottenham, Mike.
Yeah. And equalised in the last minute as well. Jermaine Beckford's that didn't help matters, to be fair. Again, it's a bit of a depressing question. But we'll go to it just to get Scott not talking about Huddersfield. So, okay. I don't even want to answer this question myself, but I'll let Chris answer it. Who would you like to see take over from Bielsa when that sad, sad day finally arrives?
Honest answer, mate. I don't know because I can't see past Bielsa. Honestly, the vision of Leeds United post Bielsa scares me a little bit, just because of what he's done. What I will say is I hope that whoever we bring in next is involved in the decision making of who comes, because I think it's got to be someone who can carry his legacy on in a way. You know, the culture is instilled in the club and stuff like that. I've heard Martinez, he used to manage, I think, Grenada. You're obviously upon your Spanish football, Oscar. I think he's been just media talk that he might follow. Young manager, seems to be well regarded. One on Facebook that I got absolutely smashed for, because this question was asked on Facebook a few days ago, and people were giving it, I want Thomas Frank, and I was like, no thanks, he's an absolute helmet, is the bloke. And I got absolute grief from a few fans for saying no. But yeah, apparently people say Thomas Frank. I'm like, absolutely not. I don't care if he plays good football. I don't care if Brentford win the pissing Premier League. He's an absolute helmet, is the bloke. No, not for me. But I don't know, mate. I can't see past Bielsa. As we all do, I worship the bloke, and he could stay forever for me. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see. I just hope it's someone he gets a say in whoever comes next.
Scott?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same sentiment as Chris. It's hard to see past Bielsa, really. And, you know, obviously, the longer he's here, the closer the day comes to when he will leave, which sounds kind of weird. There's a couple of dream scenarios where you're kind of going, well, there's a couple of managers out there that have revered Bielsa as their mentor and their hero and things, and you're thinking, well, they surely are in the Bielsa ethos and would be a great manager to carry on. You know, obviously, your Pep Guardiola or Pochettino, absolute dream scenario to carry on, and there's no reason why we couldn't. You know, if we've had Bielsa, there's no reason why we couldn't have them, and I would be interested to see the likes of Pep doing it, because Pep's done great at Man City and things where he's had money thrown at him. What would he do at a club like Leeds where he doesn't have money thrown at him? You know, that's what I think. Realistically, Mark Jackson.
We'll get Oscar with that one.
We'll get Mark Jackson, or hell, we'll even get Diego Reyes can go back. You know,
for me, mate, I think Mark Jackson, maybe not as manager, but I'd like to see him maybe come in as the next person's assistant. Because I think the stuff he's doing, obviously, under Bielsa's guidance is phenomenal. So,
yeah.
I've seen Phil in the comments say Diego Simeone. I mean, that's a great shout. A dream, an absolute pipe dream, unless we were playing Champions League football, I think. But Simeone's that type of manager, I think, is someone who's got to follow Bielsa.
That's the thing. Is Bielsa going to be here until the fruition of Radrizzani's 5-year plan comes to light? You know, is he going to stay the distance to see that plan come through? Or is it going to be, look, I've got another year after this and then I'm done? You know, that's the question. In my head, I'm thinking Bielsa is part of the project. You know, he is the glue of the project. And when he goes, well, then we need to change the project. We need to change the vision. And I just can't help but feel that he is going to be here for another maybe 3 years, 4 years, until the plan comes up and we're back in the Champions League.
I mean, when Scott suggested Mark Jackson before, I didn't mean to leave the stream because of that. Mark Jackson, by the way, just going to point that out. What a legend Mark Jackson is, by the way, and what a great job he's done from Carlos Corberán. And I did just leave because everyone was going crazy.
Just throwing the toys out of the pram.
It got too much for me.
Mark Jackson.
It got too much for me. It got too much for me. Yeah, I mean, again, a bit early, I think, for Carlos, personally. I think he's obviously doing good things at Huddersfield. It's not, Gerrard's obviously is probably one that's also going to get a bit of a mention too. But, yeah, it's not really something I want to think about too much.
I can't see Stevie G leaving Rangers. I know a lot of Liverpool fans think he's holding out for them, but Stevie Gerrard has become part of the framework in Rangers now. Sorry, obviously, part Rangers fan, you know, but
could only slightly tell that, Scott, from how you were talking.
No, No, I just can't see Stevie G leaving. That's the truth. I would love to see him at Leeds. I think it would be brilliant for us, but I just don't see him leaving Rangers.
I think if Liverpool came knocking for him, it'd be too much for him to turn down.
I think if Leeds came knocking, he'd leave, personally.
I've seen his name is one of the Steve Bruce replacements who hasn't been signed yet, by the way.
Well, let's move on. Your favourite Leeds player of all time? I guess this can be in any kind of case, that either the player you think is best, cult hero, whatever you want to call it. I'll go to Scott first. I know. Let me guess who you're going to say, Scott. I'm going to have a guess, a wild guess here at David Healy.
No. David Healy's one of my favourite Northern Ireland strikers, but I always maintain when he played for us, he was rubbish. Like, he didn't do an awful lot when he came on the pitch.
I'll tell you that much. I was not expecting this.
No, but that's a true. I shouldn't say it because my family they're involved in the club that he manages. But I wasn't that impressed with David Healy when he played for Leeds, but when he played for Northern Ireland, he was next level. You know, I always remember that fantastic goal he scored against the wee tiny Lions from England. Beat us 1-0. But no, my favourite Leeds player of all time would have to be tied between Eric Baca or Lucas Radebe. That's what it. Lucas Radebe, I was a defender as a kid, and everything I done, it was like Lucas Radebe. Brilliant. But Eric Baca for me has always been an unsung hero, and he was kind of. I think if we had a player today that I could compare to him, it would be kind of maybe not so much Stuart Dallas, but like that. You know, he was reliable and dependable, and he put a shift in. He wasn't the best player in the team, but he put a shift in.
Okay. It's a fair shout. It certainly is a fair shout. Chris?
For me, and it's probably because he's a man from my own heart, he doesn't overly like football, but loves Leeds United. And like kicking and hurting people. So David Batty for me, I loved watching him play football, especially in that midfield four that we had. But he just absolutely zero fucks to give and would just kick someone around the pitch for 90 minutes. And also was a good footballer, which also gets forgotten about with Bats because he was a hard man. But I loved him. David Batty for me, mate. There's something about him. Like I say, man of my own heart.
Yeah, it's quite a tough one. I'd certainly say the most skillful Leeds player I've seen is Raphinha. I'd genuinely go as far as saying in terms of pure skill, and probably in terms of watching live, I'd probably say because I'm too young to have seen the likes of 𝘽𝙀𝙎, Radebe, Martin actually live at Ellen Road. I've only sort of seen them on TV, you know, because I couldn't get to games when I was younger, and various reasons for that, but yeah, I think Raphinha is the best I've seen live in terms of Ellen Road. But in terms of favourite player, it's a tight one for me. I'm going to have to also put in Lucas Radebe, like Scott. Maybe it's a bit boring putting the goalkeeper up there, but I'm going to have to put Nigel Martin up there. I just think consistency. I think the thing I liked about Nigel Martin was it was just no fuss. Everything was just no fuss. He was everything I thought what a goalkeeper should be. Was Nigel Martin. You know, it's just no fuss. You know, the reliable one in the dressing room, the person you want on a night out with you, the one who's going to be sensible and make sure you're not getting into too much bother. That's just what Nigel Martin was.
You don't want him on a night out then. Boring.
Yeah, but no. You don't want to be the life and soul of it. You just want to be the sensible one, the one that just doesn't let things get a bit too over the top when everyone else is drunk and that lot. You know, I don't even know where I was going with that analogy, but it's up. I think Lucas Radebe is the most Leeds player I've ever seen, if that makes sense. You know, in terms of what everything we love about Leeds United players or Leeds United, I think Lucas Radebe represented. So, yeah, I'll probably go the Chief. I don't necessarily think he's the best Leeds player I've seen live or at Ellen Road, but he's my favourite. I'd have to say that much.
Like you say, I think similar to David Batty, he just embodied what it meant to be Leeds, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, David Batty for me, obviously, I only saw his second spell. Didn't see, his peak, his first spell. So I probably would have gone David Matty, back in the 90s. I probably would have gone Gary McAllister, to be honest, if I'd, been watching Leeds at that point, or even born at that point. But yeah, Viduka's got to be up there. Yeah, but Mark Viduka's got to be up there just for iconic moments. As a youngster, the 4-3 against Liverpool, keeping us up against Arsenal. I mean, unreal.
I think there's another one there as well, mate, and I think it's worth a mention, even though none of us have, and that's Gary Kelly.
Yeah.
Gary
Kelly as well, yeah.
What a player. And of course...
He stayed with us to the death, like.
Yeah.
Whilst others were running away for the money, Gary Kelly stayed, But sometimes wasn't getting played first choice, and he still stayed, and you got to admire that.
Yeah. And would have got into most Premier League teams, if not all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have done. I mean, Gary's speed obviously goes without saying, has to be mentioned as well. Let's move on to
anyone from that midfield 4 of the early 90s. Yeah. Speed, Macca, Strachan, Bats. It was unbelievable midfield, that.
Totally. Well, let's go on to another question here, which is off our man, Gamer Guy Ethan, absolute legend of a man. What is the best Leeds win last season in the Premier League last season? What was your favourite?
There's only one, surely.
Man City. Let's just start with Man City. I'll start the ball rolling. Chris, I'll go to you next.
Man City. Honestly, mate, like, the promotion was done. We were well into the season at that point. I thought, Leeds have stopped making me tear up now after, like, being a snivelling mess for days and days after promotion. And when that Stuart Dallas goal went in, I just sat on the sofa and I was like, I can't believe what I was like, wow, it's got to be that. It's miles away, that result from last season. It was unbelievable the way we played, especially after Coops had gone off.
Got?
Can't disagree with it. It was the best win we had, and I think everyone's favourite win. It really was. Especially whenever the Northern Ireland cooks down Cafu's the one that scores the goal, It was brilliant. I think half of my estate heard me screaming and crying from the living room, but it was brilliant. Fantastic win. And as you said, like, down to 10 men against the team that won the league and nearly won the Champions League, that's something else. But that's the Stuart Dallas and the team that we need to see again now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's go on to another good question here. Well, they're all good questions. They're all good questions, guys. They're all good questions. Don't get too much into that. All good questions.
There's no stupid questions, just stupid people, is what Oscar's saying.
Yeah, aye. Right, let's move on. So, Russ, our man Russ Vernon, I'm going to slightly adapt this question a little bit. If you could pick one player right now in this Leeds team, right now, to come from the O'Leary team into this team today to make the biggest difference, who are you going for? I'm going to start the ball rolling with maybe not the most glamorous player from that team and someone else who would have to be up there with my most favourite players. I'm going to start the ball rolling from that O'Leary team, Olivier Dacour for that midfield, alongside Click. Perfect for this team right now. Exactly, for me, what this Leeds team needs right now. If you need one player, it's an Olivier Dacour. Chris, I'll go to you next, mate. What are you saying? One player from that team.
I'm going for the big Aussie up front. I think him, with the amount of chances we create, I think Mark Viduka he'd be getting messy numbers, mate. Absolute messy numbers. What a striker Mark Viduka was. Big bloke, held the ball up, good in the air, but the skill levels as well, like his 4 goals against Liverpool in that 4-3 win. Dacour, don't get me wrong, mate, Dacour's a great shout for fitting it into this team. But yeah, it'd be Viduka for me, and that is not me throwing any shade on Patrick Bamford, who I think is fantastic, but Viduka was next level in his prime. Unbelievable.
Scott?
Yeah, those are 2 brilliant shoots. You went for a midfielder, you went for a striker. I'm going to go for someone we've already talked about, Gary Kelly. I would have him right in there at right back, and I would have Jamie Shackleton in the midfield. I'm already planning out my first 11. You know, throw in Decor and Jamie Shackleton of the Duke up front, Gary Kelly at right back. Brilliant. There we go. Leeds are going to the Champions League.
No, Scott. You can only have one at once. I'm going to have to be the
I know, here, I was just incorporating yours.
No. Yours. Did I say you could incorporate? Did I say it?
You didn't say I couldn't.
I said one player, specifically
I know.
one player. I know, but doing this now, and by adding like Viduka in there and all sorts.
No, here. Listen, I was just melding them together, you know, just to show the emphasis. But no, honestly, I think Gary Kelly.
You can't mould them together. That's the rule. One player.
I know. All right. Well, I didn't know there was a rule, but no, for me, Gary Kelly, 100%. Like it, I think he'd have fitted in well, with his play style and his work ethic and that love for Leeds. I think that would be infectious throughout the rest of the team, and I think that it would have helped. Like,
we all saw it online when Man United re-signed Ronaldo. Gary Kelly asked for a year's contract. He's got one more go in him.
Let's get some more questions in.
People saying that Aussie who used to play on the left-hand side, no, he's never welcome back.
We've got two better left wingers anyway already at the club in Dan James and Jack Harrison. So, you know, there you go.
I can't comment on him because I liked him. I liked him until he done what he done.
I think we all did, didn't we? But he did do what he did, and that's it. Anyway.
And now he's unemployed and on the brew. See you later.
There you go. There you go. Could not have put it any better. I like this question now. Coming in. If you had to choose, okay, I mean, it's not a bad choice to have. This isn't a bad choice to have at all. I'll go to Chris first. European place, let's say top 4, or FA Cup / League Cup win. What are you choosing?
Even if it's top 7, I'm saying European place. Let's go out and get on a European tour. Let's get on a European tour. I'm thinking from a fan. One, I can't stick going down to Wembley because I know it says on the question win, but Wembley just holds nothing but bad memories for me with Leeds. It's just a dreadful, dreadful place. So European tour.
Isn't that more reason to win though? To win? No,
I don't. No, because my arse will be falling out travelling down there because I'll be like, oh god, there we go again. European tour. Let's get on.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised at that. For me, football's all about winning. I'm going to go FA Cup or League Cup. Senior team win a trophy for me is better than senior team play away at Barcelona. That's all I'm going to say, or wherever it is. You know, you might not even. The thing is, with European football, you're not going to get the glamorous ties all the time unless you progress to like the last 16 or the last 8 in that lot.
I don't care, mate. I just want to go on the piss.
Well, go on the piss in Barnsley then. You don't need to go on the piss in Prague, do you? Or wherever we get
I can't believe you've just compared Barnsley to Prague.
Barnsley to Prague?
I can, because Barnsley's better, mate.
Oh, my word.
I am messing it. I am messing now, guys. But I still think it's better to win a trophy. Fair
comment, mate. It's a fair comment.
It's nothing
I'm with you.
At Wembley.
Oh, by the way, I have also ignored the fact that a cup win would give you European football anyway.
That's why it's a Champions League.
So I've played it as one or the other.
There you go. All we've established from this, Chris, is you're just desperate to have a drink in a foreign country. That's all we've established here.
Me and Jack want to go on tour with Jack, basically. Go on a boys' holiday with Jack.
Imagine that. Scott, what are you saying?
Yeah, League Cup win. I actually really, really hope we go for the League Cup this year. I really do. Like I said it before. I think it was on you and Phil before, and in fact, no, it was all three of us and Phil. It said League Cup run. Hopefully, if we can win the League Cup, I'll be laughing and finish 14th. That's a good season. That is a good season. We're not ready for European football yet. We would end up getting even more injuries, and then the under-23s would have to play, and then they'd get injured, and we'll be having to go to the under-12s to play. So we're going to end up having no team. So, yeah, give us that League Cup. You can drink your champagne or your Prosecco out of the League Cup lid in Barnsley.
I don't know why I thought of Barnsley. I don't know why I thought of Barnsley. But...
Why would you celebrate winning the League Cup in Barnsley?
No. I was saying, because all Chris's thing was about, the only reason Chris said European football is because he wants to have a drink abroad. But I'm thinking, is that much better than, say, having a drink at Barnsley away and then having an FA Cup in hand?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Get some more questions in, guys. Let's get some more questions. I think a lot of you are enjoying this new format, so we're going to do more of this. Get some more questions in. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start coming up with the questions, and
Which player would you get a pint? Which player would you most want to have a pint with? I like that one.
Oh, that's a good question. Where is it? I can't see it.
I think it's just gone off the screen, mate.
That's a good question. It's a good question. Off 10th name, love that. I'm going to start the ball rolling. I'm assuming current players.
No, let's go any player.
Any player.
Yeah. None of them drink now, mate.
If it's a pint, all right. If it's just a pint, and you're not doing anything else afterwards. It's just like a pint on a Sunday afternoon. It's David Batty, because I just love David Batty's. I think you said it before. His outlook on life, I love it. I respect it. There's no messing around with David Batty. So if it's in that setting, it's David Batty. If it's in going on, a pre-drink for a night out, it's probably. I'm going to go 𝘽𝙀𝐿𝙀.
I bet he drinks champagne and stuff, Luke.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very
and
true.
Not even from the bottle. I bet he pours it into a champagne flute and drinks it from the champagne flute.
Kalvin or Click? I'll go for Scott. Don't say
they haven't determined what the pint is, and it can be any Leeds player from the past. So if it was just a regular pint, I would love to go for a pint with Gary Kelly. I think he'd be great crack. Alternatively, if it was a pint of, say it was a dirty pint, I would want to go out on the absolute Raz with 𝘎𝙖𝙎. I would want to wake up. I would want to wake up in a German prison with 𝘎𝙎𝙎.
He just annoyed me too much. 𝘎𝙎𝙎.
We could shake tunnels and make Peppa Pig noises.
Chris, who are you going for?
I am going on the piss with Gary Kelly. No two ways about it. I bet he's an absolute boy on the smash. Gary Kelly all day long.
See if Gary, he's been mentioned a lot. Gary Kelly, see if you're watching, drop Oscar a message and we'll just bring you in just for the crack.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It's not like
Gary.
We might have asked Gary that already, though, to be fair. We might have asked him that already.
He's already huffing because Belfast got a Leeds shot before Dublin did.
I know. It's the Scott Wilson influence, so you see. That's the thing. Let's get some more questions in.
What about from Brian? Talk about Kalvin and the rumours. And can I go first?
I'm just ignoring it for me. But Chris, I'll let you take this one, mate.
Kalvin Phillips will sign a new contract and become the best paid player, maybe on par with the top players, or even the best paid player at Leeds United. He will be at the club for at least this season and next season. And I think if we're not knocking on the door of European football after that, then I think he's got every right, as long as he doesn't go to a certain club, to say, I want to go and play Champions League football. But at the minute, the rumours are absolute nonsense. There is no way for me, and let's remember this is just my opinion, that Kalvin Phillips goes to Manchester United. Not a cat in hell's chance. It wouldn't happen. I could see him in maybe 2 seasons replacing a Fabinho at Liverpool or a Fernandinho at Manchester City. He's that good a player. Again, if we haven't progressed as a club, which I'm sure we will. But Yeah, it's lazy journalism from so-called pundits. It's an absolute nonsense. He will sign a new contract. Apparently, he's very keen on it, and it's very close.
It's just the same crap. It's the same crap they keep bringing up over and over and over again ever since he got picked to play for England. You know, it started off where he wasn't good enough for England, and now he's too good for Leeds. You know, they can't make up their mind. Truth is, Kalvin Phillips isn't going anywhere, as Chris said, for at least another 2 years, as long as we've progressed. See if we're still sitting, you know, down in the bottom half of the table, fighting to try and be a mid-table team. But then, yes, you can't begrudge him wanting to go to the likes of Man City or Liverpool. The truth is, he's never going to go to Man U. No matter what money's offered to him, he will never go. He just knows that himself. He will never ever go there. Not there. And the other ones, that other one from the other side of Europe, you know, those are two teams he's never going to go to. So why the pundits keep saying this? Like, do they not know? Leeds, do they not know that the fans that grew up supporting them and then go into their academy and come into the club, they're not going to go to those clubs? Especially when their family are so against it. It's just, I don't know. Them journalists need to go and just write about toilet roll or something, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Because even that sentence I said makes no sense. They're just stupid idiots. Stupid idiots that need to get a life. Idiots.
Are you okay, Scott? Are you all right, mate?
Yeah, fine.
I'm just sick.
I'm just sick of the same shit.
I think people bring up the Alan Smith thing. That's very different circumstances. They were the only club that came in that was willing to pay the full price at the time, and Alan Smith went actually to help Leeds out, which is why I don't hold any bad feelings. Yeah. It's a very different circumstance. I wasn't happy at the time, don't get me wrong. I don't want any of our players to go to Manchester United, but you look back on it now, and he made what he thought was the right decision for Leeds, and he also went to go, and he got to go and play Champions League football, didn't he? So I think if anyone else had come in a top club at top dollar, he wasn't top dollar, they still got him on the cheap, but actually paying the full whack up front, I think he'd have gone elsewhere. So it's too easy to compare the two. It's nah. Kalvin won't go to Man United. No one.
No.
I like that. I don't think so either, to be honest.
No.
I just think a lot of things can change in football. There's no reason for me why Kalvin couldn't be a one club man. There's no reason, if Leeds keep on an upward trajectory, there's been a lot of players who've stayed at the clubs. So I'm just waiting to see for me really on Kalvin.
But Cantona wasn't Leeds born and bred. He was with us for what, 18 months?
Yeah.
Cantona couldn't get into the team when we won the league. He couldn't.
That was the problem.
He left,
yeah,
because he couldn't get in ahead of Rod Wallace or Lee Chapman. Although that might sound crazy now, it's the truth. He was a sub player in that 91-92 team.
And again, Rio, he wasn't Leeds through and through. He came from West Ham. We're talking about Kalvin, who's been at the club since he was a kid. It's very different. Players will come and go, and some will join. There's always that slight danger that someone like a Raphinha might join Manchester United. His best mate's there in Bruno Fernandes. But again, you're comparing apples and oranges. Kalvin bleeds Leeds. His whole family bleeds Leeds United. It's very different to someone who's been with us for a season or 2 seasons and then moves on.
Okay, well, let's get some more questions in, guys. Let's get some more questions. I'll just ask Chris this. Are you at all worried if Leeds don't finish in the European place, which seems mad to say, but if Leeds don't finish in a European place in the next couple of seasons, that not just Kalvin Phillips, other players maybe will find it more and more difficult to keep them? Are you worried by that?
That's a natural thing, mate, at the end of the day. These players want to play at the top level. We're not talking about most of the players that came up with us from the Championship, but certainly players we're bringing in. So Raphinha, obviously Kalvin, who's you know, knocking on world class at times with the performance he's put in for Leeds and England, certainly through the Euros. So there's always that danger that players are going to say, I want to, if the right offer comes in. I mean, let's use Jack Grealish as an example. Villa boy through and through. But when a club like Man City comes knocking with £100 million, you've also got to remember football's a business. And Jack's now going to go on and win Premier Leagues, potentially win Champions Leagues. And I wouldn't begrudge Kalvin or any of our top players that in a couple of seasons if we aren't knocking on the door of Europe. I think you've got to show these players that there's still a plan in place and we're still progressing. Otherwise, it's like me, if I'm in my job 3-4 years and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere here, then I'm looking to move on somewhere else and take a step up. It's the same thing. So, yes, it's a concern, but hopefully the club keeps improving and we don't have to worry about it.
Okay, Scott, anything to add on that? Is it a worry for you, or do you think the Bielsa factor is huge at this moment in time in keeping players?
He is the key. He's the glue that's kind of keeping the engine going and keeping players there. You know, I wouldn't be upset and crying and all if at the end of this season we sold Raphinha for 50-60 million. In fact, we could probably buy another 2 or 3 decent players and Bielsa turn them into Raphinha level ballers. It's that simple. Kalvin Phillips is irreplaceable, and that's the truth. However, you know, if we aren't progressing, if we aren't pushing to be getting better and looking likely to get into a European spot, it's going to be expected. It'll be given. You know, if we get relegated, they're gone. Like that, you know, that's not even up for debate. They're gone. But it's just one of those things. I think we just don't want to see him go. He's the one player in that entire team right now. I would go, I do not want him going anywhere. You know, our next one, like Kalvin, is 𝘽𝙀𝙎𝙏. You know, so to me, those are the players that we have to protect and develop and keep. And you can see now what happened with Kalvin starting to happen with 𝘽𝙀𝙎𝙏. You know, he's starting to get better and better, and don't care what anyone says, he's first choice right back now. Bill comes back and he has to fight to get back in there. Jamie can't just get dropped.
Do you think that'll be the case, though,
back,
Scott? Do you think, say, if Aylin's fit for Southampton, do you not think Bielsa will go with Aylin against Southampton?
Of course he will. Of course he will. That's the thing. Bielsa
can't say his first choice, then, can we?
For me, he is 100%. He's proved his worth. He's been our best right back so far. That's amazing how we just veered off to this one.
Definitely agree.
But we know Bielsa is vehemently loyal to those that have been there, and if Bill's fit for Southampton, Bill plays against Southampton. But you know, that's that. But back on the Kalvin, like I just don't see him going anywhere soon. And definitely, he's signing a new contract. He's going to get paid well. In all likeliness, I imagine he's going to be the captain next season, as long as we're still in the Premier League. You know, again, I think next season we're going to see a lot of changes, and next season is going to be the year that we push on. Yeah. This year, it's get settled, get stable, and now build. I think if anyone's going at the end of this season, it's Raphinha.
100%, absolutely 100% agree with everything you said there, Scotty. I think the player we do need to worry about as such leaving at the end of this season is Raphinha. I mean, he's come on twice now for Brazil in the last week and played absolutely out of his skin. The good thing is with that, as much as he's shot windowing a bit more, he's just adding value constantly. Mm-hmm. I think someone said he's worth north of 75 million. You can't argue that. If you pay 75-80 for
the
Sancho,
thing is, though, Chris, with that is the good thing is for me is that it makes the list of potential clubs who could afford to just buy Raphinha outright less and less and less. The more he adds to his value, because if he keeps adding to his value and maybe gets to, I don't know, the Grealish mark of 100 billion, which is not totally unthinkable. There's no way you can say that's unthinkable. I actually genuinely, hand on heart, think Raphinha is a better player than Grealish. I genuinely do think he's an easier player to fit into a team. And if you offer me Grealish as a swap for Raphinha right now, I would not take it.
No.
I genuinely wouldn't take it.
You know where I see him, mate? The new Mahrez at City.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But the thing is, there's not a lot of clubs that could afford 100 million right now in the pandemic. I don't think there's a lot of clubs. So it limits.
Well, look, the top two Spanish teams haven't got any money to come knocking.
No.
Because I think Real Madrid potentially would if they had the cash in the bank. I think he's that type of player. But yeah, there's very few teams who'll be able to afford him outright. And we don't need to sell. That's the good thing here. We don't need to sell. So the offer's got to be right. Otherwise, get on your bikes. See ya.
We could see him going back to France, but playing for PSG. You know, especially if it's true, you know, with Mbappe holding out to go to Madrid at the end of the season. You know, there's a space opening.
He won't go to Newcastle. He wants.
No. Did somebody say to go to Newcastle?
The thing is, someone's just put, what about Newcastle? The thing is, with Raphinha, you can tell he loves playing football. So his next club, if he did move, would need to be a champion. And I know he moved from a Champions League club in Rennes, but a French team is very different to a Premier League team. So his next club, if he did go, would be one of the big ones in England, I think. Really.
I think shit, what was that? It was one of my cats, sorry. He's one player you could see Scum going for. And whilst you would be gutted that he went to Scum, it wouldn't be the same if Phillips went.
No.
It wouldn't be the same. You know. And as you said, you know, his best mates there. I think if he was to stay in England, I honestly think they are the natural choice for him to go to. Unfortunately. But again, if he's wanting to really, really go for a chance to win in Champions League football, PSG, go and play with Messi and Neymar and all, you know, those are the kind of teams that are going to be looking at him at the end of the season.
Well, let's be honest, if Mbappe is going to Real Madrid, which is looking more and more likely, would someone like Raphinha just be the ideal target for them?
How mad?
100%.
How mad is this, though? We just listen to what you just said. I'm not having to go with what you said, Chris, because I totally agree with that. But what you just said there, Kylian Mbappe, possibly the most valuable player in world football at this moment in time, and we're talking about our player potentially being his replacement. That's how whoa.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Fair. It's totally fair. I mean,
do you remember we were hoping to send the likes of Billy Sharp, and now we're talking about selling one of the best players in the world?
Was the marquee signing?
Oh, Jesus. Luke Murphy.
But yeah.
You can't put Luke Murphy and Raphinha in the same sentence.
Where we are now as a football club to where we've been in the very recent past, it's we're talking about Kalvin could get in any team now, almost any team in Europe. Certainly with the aging CDMs, the good CDMs that are out there, people are going to be looking for replacements. And Raphinha could walk into a top 4 Champions League club. It's just mental when you sit back and think about it. It really is.
The other side of it is, though, I think Raphinha is a very marketable footballer now. You know, in terms of, we know with Brazil, the Brazil thing, the fact that he is seen as the new Neymar, Ronaldinho type player. I've seen comparisons with that today. I think it's probably a little bit early to compare him to those two. But look, you know, he's got that kind of PR now.
Mate, I agree. I've seen today the Brazilian press start Raphinha, going absolutely. I think he'll start against. I think it's Uruguay they've got on Friday, isn't it? I think he starts. I think he'll start. Yeah.
I think it's a good chance. There's a good chance. I think he has to the way they played after he came on. But for Leeds, though, I think just the longer and longer Leeds keep him, the more the profile of the club itself goes through the roof as well. You know, you see with Salah. Obviously, I live quite close to Liverpool. You see the impact Salah's had on kind of like, you know, in terms of the Egyptian and African interest in Liverpool has been absolutely massive. And Mane and that lot. And, you know, the same could happen with Leeds in terms of it almost becoming, we're sort of in the islands, you know, we're Scottish, you know, how many Irish players during the O'Leary years, the 90s and that lot, played for Leeds, Ian Hart, Gary Kelly, people like that. A lot of Leeds fans my age from Ireland are Leeds fans because of people like that. I almost think that Raphinha has kind of got that kind of PR about him, and it could be massively valuable for the club, keeping him around for as long as possible. Obviously, Bielsa's look at Argentina in terms of since Bielsa's been at the club, the interest. I think the same's going to happen from Brazil now. You know, and however long. Well, let's hope Raphinha stays forever. So let's just hope that. But there's certainly going to be more and more interest from just fans in terms of Leeds United. You know, you're not telling me Brazil fans who maybe don't watch Premier League teams outside the top 6 will not be watching Leeds' game against Southampton to see Raphinha on the pitch. They'll be interested in now, and I think it'll be massive for the profile of the club having someone like Raphinha there. I know that's not going to ultimately help us on the pitch, but certainly off the pitch, in terms of getting to where we want to be as a football club as a whole. I think Raphinha is a massive part of the project, and I think he's almost equally as important as Bielsa now for this team. I'd go as far as that. I'd say, you know, is Bielsa on the pitch? He mesmerises people on the pitch. I think I noticed against Watford, you hear almost not so much the crowd go quiet when Raphinha touches the ball, but you kind of feel an anticipation that he's going to do something. It's different. The other 10 players, there's no real difference, but you can just tell when Raphinha touches the ball. You know, if you shut your eyes at Ellen Road, I could identify when Raphinha touches the ball. Seriously, I genuinely think
you know what?
Because there's an anticipation that he's going to produce a amount of magic.
And you know what, mate? The fact that he's gone away to Brazil and had a great international break on his debut and then his second cap, it's only good for us moving forward. That lad's going to come back. Not that he wasn't confident anyway, because he's full of it, but he's going to come back on bloody cloud 999, and I can't wait for the Wolves game at home. I think he'll just be on fire, and I'll be smashed. Hey!
That's your 50th, isn't it?
You cheeky kid.
Oh.
My 42nd.
Is it actually? I thought you were like the same age as me. I thought you were younger.
No.
Fair play to you. You had an easy paper round. No.
I mean, if I look like that at 42, I'll be absolutely buzzing. Absolutely.
Well, you're only a couple of months away from 42, you know. Huh?
What was that? Sorry, mate. What was that?
Nothing. I was just talking through my mustache.
This is true. To be fair, what Phil says, this is true. I did get a little bit excited. I'm not going to lie. When Raphinha scored that goal, I did get extremely excited. But anyway, I think we'll leave it there, guys. Anyway, it's been a fantastic chat, just under an hour. Guys, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already. We're like 2 or 3.
Two people away now.
2 off 23k. So if you can smash that subscribe button for us, that'd be much appreciated. Plenty of content to go out pretty much every day now. We've got a big team here. We've got Big Scott here. But I just saw a new name on the thing. It was Big Scott, so I thought I'd say we've got a big team. We've got Big Scott. But yeah, there'll be plenty of content going out. Leeds losses tomorrow. A general season review. We're doing our pre-match thoughts on Southampton. Try and organise a Southampton Oppo preview, and yeah, there's going to be pretty much quite a bit going on in the next week or so. Proper football's back, and we do have to celebrate that, guys. So we're going to leave it there. Smash the like button if you haven't done already. Make sure you check out Ultimate Fan if you haven't done already as well. Link in the description down below. If you like your fantasy football, if you like your FIFA Ultimate Team, check it out. Much appreciated. Russ Burning, and we're going to end it there, guys, with the stream, by the way. Just to point out, with the stream, we're going to end the stream there. Because the way I said that, it kind of sounded like... Anyway, what a way to end the video that is. But we're going to end the video there.